Okay, call the meeting to order for tonight's school board meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Spiritu?
Here.
Mr. Gorbitz?
Here.
Ms. Laird?
Here.
Mr. Price?
Here.
Mrs. Ray?
Here.
Approve or amend and sign the minutes of the regular meeting held January 25th, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Price,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Espiritu. Are there any questions regarding the minutes? Roll call, please.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu?
Yes.
Ms. Laird?
Yes.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz?
Yes. Okay. Walk-on item?
Yes, Mr. Gorbetz, with your permission and the board's permission, I would. We had 2 late applications for substitutes. There's an attachment in your packet. I'd like to add that to item 5, which is on the bottom of page 4. We won't need a new item because there are already some subs on the list. We'll just add these 2 names, Catherine Taylor and Naomi Zapata. If I could have that as an add-on, please. We'll get there on item 5. Thank you, Mr. Gorbetz.
Superintendent's report?
Yes, thank you very much. Good to see you all. First thing, I hope that tonight maybe you'll share a little bit about your tour that you got of the high school. When you get to the end, we get a chance, and I'll speak for you first. It is amazing, isn't it? How exciting it is to see our new school going up. And just for the public's notice, we did get a tour with the board last Friday. So spent well over an hour walking around the new building, and it takes almost an hour to get around. It really does. Beautiful building. So thank you for that. Pretty excited. Some big news in our community. I was on a meeting this morning with our Fremont Area Foundation, and that is the organization that has raised over $20 million to help us with our athletic facilities. They built an auditorium and the new stadium, and helped us with the turf and the wrestling space, and the baseball field and the tennis courts. And we wouldn't have the facilities we have without this organization and their generosity and hard work. Well, very exciting news is they will be retiring the final payment for any debt that they incurred this month. So it's just such a huge time. Everyone's so proud and so happy with their achievement, and just as a district. And I know on the board's behalf, I shared how grateful we were for all that they've done for us this morning at our meeting. So I just want to make sure that everyone knew that. And we're gonna have a little party. I know some of the officers are working on a little celebration to make sure we duly note that huge accomplishment of paying off that final note for the FAF. And then also some good news, Charles Woodson was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. And I also publicly want to say how proud we are of him, and how well he's represented us, and all the things that he's done to represent Fremont City Schools. And in our meeting this morning with the FAF, and also I know that the mayor is excited to do something. We're kind of putting a committee together to sort of figure out just how to celebrate and what to do. I think it'd be appropriate if we had a board member that would help serve on that committee. Right now, Mr. Bucci, Mr. Hawk, probably have Chad Byrne on there. John Cahill has volunteered to be a part of that committee. And I know the mayor, and then it will be some more community members involved with that process. But I didn't know if there's anybody on the board that'd be especially interested in helping us on that committee. Certainly nothing we have to do, but I think it'd be a nice gesture. Any thoughts?
I would.
You would? Okay. I didn't know if they want to arm wrestle Alex over that position, or? Okay. All right. If that's okay, we'll let him proceed. Thank you very much, Mr. Gorbetz.
Unless there's any strenuous objection.
I think we would all enjoy it, but you're more closely connected to our athletic programs.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Also at your place, I left a little quiz. It's a quiz for Black History Month from our citizen, Chris Mollis. Chris came to see me today and he brought you those. Don't take time to do it now, but he's asking you to identify some Black Americans who made significant impact on our country. So it's a little quiz, and I think it's good for him to do that. And he's a teacher, retired teacher. He subbed for us for a while. We had a great chat today just about the accomplishments and the contributions that many people have made from African-American communities. So that's a little extra from him, and he sends his greetings. Vaccine update, just so you know, the 24th is now a Wednesday when the staff will be getting their first round of vaccine. And depending on which one we get, the Moderna or the Pfizer, we will be either 3 weeks or 4 weeks after that to get then the follow-up. So right now it's going to be the 24th and then either the 19th, Friday of March, or the 26th. I'm doing the math.
24th.
24th? Thank you. 24th is Wednesday, right? Then the 2 Fridays are the 19th, I think, and the 26th. So those are the two dates, and we're pretty excited about that. We got our sign-up sheet today. So that's all I have for my update. I know that we have the first hearing of the public, but this actually is a little different. We didn't have anybody request to come see us from the community, but we have some guests that we actually invited to come that are here tonight. So it isn't necessarily a hearing of the public. These are actually our guests. So we asked them to come. With us this evening are Beth Hannum, who's the Executive Director of the Sandusky County Economic Development Corporation. Beth and I are on Zooms often together, trying to do good work for our community. And with us also tonight is Jordan Wagner with Construction Equipment and Supply. So I think I'll go ahead and turn it over to whoever would like to begin.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Detweiler, and thank you to the Board of Education. As you guys know, the reason why I'm here is to talk about the Enterprise Zone Tax Abatement Program. In the past, we typically don't have to go to the Board of Education if we are at a 75% abatement for 10 years. This one is different in the fact that it's not an industrial tax abatement. This is something that the Sandusky County Tax Incentive Review Committee was made aware of probably 3 years ago, right when I really started at the Sandusky County EDC, was that retail and commercial is also has the opportunity to apply for these abatements. So what the Tax Incentive Review Committee decided to do was put together some guidelines that we thought that the retail commercial component should try to meet that threshold to be approved. Some of the guidelines, and I apologize, Ira, you might have covered this at the last meeting, but I'll recap real quick. The guidelines were $3 million investment and or up to $1 million in payroll. Has to be a new company to the county. Must have school board approval. And again, these are recommendations. If the Board of Education or the committee sees appropriate, we can bring it before you guys if they don't quite meet the guidelines. So this is an exciting project for us. I'm excited to introduce Jordan in a short bit. But we're excited to present this project to you guys. As an economic development corporation, we really have 3 things that we focus on to help improve the county. That's business attraction opportunities, that's what this is. And then we also have working with our existing business and industry and helping them expand and grow. And of course, the third component, John, Mr. Detweiler kind of touched on it. We also help with different workforce development programs. So we're heavily involved in a lot of different things, such as the Business Advisory Council, which Fremont City Schools is part of. So I'm going to turn, because the real meat and potatoes is what Jordan's going to talk about, his project, and they would like to get a 50% abatement for 5 years, is what they're asking for, and that's the max threshold that the Sandusky County Tax Incentive Review Committee agreed on is the maximum. So at this point, across the table from me is Jordan Wagner with Construction Equipment and Supply. Do you want to go ahead and talk about your project, Jordan?
Yep, thank you. First, I'd like to thank Beth for all she's helped us with here. And I'd like to thank the Board of Education here for inviting us to present here today. Just a little background, if you're not familiar, Construction Equipment Supply, we've been in business since about 1995. Single location as of now, in Sandusky. It's quite a big operation we have. We have, we just heard today that you guys walked through the the new high school or the new facilities here. So similar to that, we deal a lot with the contractors who are, building these schools or, a lot of the equipment. We have a lot of the equipment. That's what we specialize in, is the aerial equipment, telehandlers, forklifts. That's kind of what our bread and butter is renting. And we sell a lot of supplies. We're direct dealers for, Milwaukee, DeWalt, the power tool companies, similar to that. So that kind of gives you a little background of what we do and what we plan to do if this is improved. And a little background, I handed out a paper here, shows the site plan. If you're not familiar, we purchased a piece of property located in Sandusky Township, which falls under the Fremont School District. And it's right next to ABC Unawac, if you're familiar. Right between Walter Ave and Pontiac Ave. It's about 7.5 acres. We purchased it, I believe, in July of 2020. We also purchased 3 or 4, it's technically 4 parcels. 3 of them were houses that were in pretty poor condition, to say the least. They're actually I just drove by today. They were just tearing down the last house today. A little background on that, and part of the reason why we're here is one of the properties was possibly going to go up to land bank, which the land bank process through Sandusky County takes about a year, is what they were telling us. One of the houses was purchased years ago, I believe in 2015. He was back on taxes about $7,000 when we purchased it, and we purchased it. Really, we're not building on that property, but we thought there was quite a few complaints, and talking to the township, there's various complaints from homeowners, adjacent homeowners, with the condition of the property, and obviously it was back on taxes. So we obviously, through purchasing that, we paid the back taxes. It was about $7,000, I believe. And, we just plan on, restoring that to natural, just grass surface. And if you can, so what we're planning on building here, and what we have in these drawings, is a 16,000 square foot facility, which is about 4,000 for a showroom and 12,000 for warehouse. It's very similar to the facility that we started with in Sandusky. We're trying to use that as a blueprint. Obviously, we've grown quite a bit since we started out of a 1-car garage in 1995. At that time we had about 2 full-time employees. Now we're at the point where, we have anywhere between 25 to 27 full-time employees at one point. At the beginning, I don't plan on, I think 25 is obviously a little too strong to start out with. I think we're planning on, probably somewhere around 7 to start, seven jobs. But, we are in this, as you can see, there's room for, in there, the proposed 2 future buildings. One would be a mechanics garage, similar to how we have in Sandusky. Second would be what we call cold storage. It's not heated, but it's where we'd store a lot of our construction products, overflow from our warehouse. I know we've been in constant contact with Janot and Herner. That's who we have been working with on the proposal for our building. I know they're getting close to ready to go. We're working out some details. I know we've came in a little over budget. Another part of the reason, we're here, and we're deciding, whether, we go as is, or if we scale back, or exactly what we do from there. And then talking more specifically, about, the jobs we'd be creating, which is obviously, important. Just a little background on us, we we like to take care of our employees. A lot of our employees are long-term. It's not I consider it more of a career than a job. You know, we're looking for long-term employees. That's the important part. And obviously with that, you know, we feel like we have some of the best benefits around. You know, we have, for our employees, they don't pay a dime out of their paycheck for health insurance. We have that covered. 401k, you know, we do 3% match, which is standard, but which is pretty standard. But what really separates us from everybody else is we have a profit sharing plan, you know, where it follows a vesting schedule, but you're basically guaranteed at least 4.5% of your wages through that plan as well. You know, so that's what we're committed to. Is we're committed to, you know, hiring people. A lot of times we like to hire them young, really teach them the way, and so that's kind of on the jobs part, you know. And really, you know, since we've really started to do this, a lot of people have asked, you know, why now because of coronavirus, but really we don't think there's a better time than now. You know, it's, you know, from talking, you know, some subcontractors, some contractors, you know, have been slowed down because of the virus. Some jobs are getting pushed back, you know, so really, you know, we didn't see a better time than now to do it. And, you know, ultimately, you know, we think there's growth for the construction industry, which is just going to help all these cities, counties, municipalities. I think we're going to see it, you know, pick up here in the next couple years. But so, you know, that's why we want to do it now. That's why we think now is the best time instead of waiting, you know, because it's a 6-month project, and you know, there's a lot that it's gonna take a little while to get, you know, set up as well. It's not something, you know, we're expecting to, you know, match what we do in Sandusky right away, you know. And we do a lot of business with, you know, Fremont local and Sandusky County businesses, so, you know, that's big part of it. And, you know, we think, you know, it gets us closer to different markets such as Toledo, Tiffin. You know, you're a lot closer than what we are in Sandusky, and you know, we just felt like it was the right time to kind of expand. And you know, what actually started it, tell a quick, you know, when I first reached out to Beth, was we got a mailer in the mail from a real estate company from trying to sell the old Gordon Lumber building out near Clyde. I don't know if it's Clyde or Fremont address, but, you know, we were somewhat interested in that. By the time we even reached out, it was already sold, and I believe it was sold to Dam Schroeder Roofing possibly. And so then we reached out to that realtor. You know, they had us look at some old properties. I believe the old Kroger, and it just wasn't a fit. You know, it takes the right fit. You know, we have 7.5 acres that we purchased, and it's very similar to what we have. So it takes quite a bit of space. You know, we have a lot of equipment. We have over 600 pieces of wheeled equipment, you know, and this stuff is expensive. So we're planning on a pretty sizable investment in terms of not only the building itself, but, you know, we're talking, you know, probably a couple $1 million easy in equipment. And, you know, and so, you know, we're excited. I think, you know, we're aiming for a start here fairly soon. You know, I think we'd like to open this year because it'd be our 25th year in business. You know, so that's kind of what we've aimed out to do. And with that, I don't know if Beth has anything else to say, or if there's any other questions. I'm open to any questions.
Yeah, I would just like to add about the job component. You know, we mentioned the 6 or 7 to start, and they're good paying jobs. I think the minimum you said would be around 50,000, you know, to start, up to 60,000 starting. So the wages are good, along with the other benefits as well. So I think that's a positive. And like I said, that's just a start. So typically when we look at business attraction and expansion projects, we usually look at a 3 or 4 year window. Gives them time to grow.
So I see there'll
While
be
you're
a,
taking a breath, on the handout that you provided, or on the back page, there is a
Yes, it has the
personnel
breakout.
schedule on that.
and Mr. Wagner, you said there's a retail in front too, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
so yeah, it is. We are, not only do we deal with contractors, we deal a lot with homeowners as well.
Sure.
You know, and you know, so it is both. You know, we're dealing with a lot of, you know, the bigger companies like Mosier and, you know, some like that, but we're also dealing with, you know, smaller people who are, maybe they do concrete on the side, or, this year or last year, with coronavirus and with a lot of people off, it seemed like everybody wanted to roll their yards. We have rollers, excavators, there's basically anything you would see on a job site similar to your guys' school construction. We have it. And I know we did have some. I know our competitors have some on the job site, but we had some as well. And, part of it, it's hard to make the argument of buy local when we're not really, because there is nobody like us in Sandusky County right now. We do business with quite a few businesses in Sandusky County. We do some with some municipalities in Sandusky County. But it's hard to make the argument of buy local when we're in Erie County. The tax dollars are obviously going to Erie County, but obviously if we come to Sandusky County, every purchase, every $100, 1.25, because of the sales tax, you're talking 1.25% would stay in Sandusky County. And that's kind of the argument we make to, some of our customers who, if you go and you shop at a big box store, big corporation, those dollars really aren't coming back to your community necessarily. Yeah, they're employing people, don't get me wrong, but, we're the ones, small businesses in general, they're the ones who are, supporting, the local, kids, the youth, the schools, the athletic departments. We did a lot with Perkins schools when they were in Sandusky schools, when they were redoing their football fields and athletic facilities, and that's a big thing. We like to, we're from here, it's not some big corporation where we're from out of state. We all live here, all our employees live here. We went to school here. The owner of our company, which is my mother, she grew up here in Sandusky County. She lived in Clyde for, I believe 23 years of her life. So it is important. It's a lot different. It frustrates me sometimes, when a lot of our customers, sometimes they buy from, huge corporations, such as, Sunbelt or whatever, and we're trying to change that, to, I think it'd be better for our community. Tax dollars would stay here, jobs created here, et cetera.
So if I could interpret, and it's because I had the conversation with Beth, but it's my understanding one of the reasons that you chose this area is because it's more centrally located to doing business with the Tiffins and the Toledos.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. It's pretty business friendly in this county. It's pretty accessible. You got quick access to, going towards, I believe it's 53 going towards Tiffin, and then you got the turnpike going right to Toledo, and it puts us more, makes us more competitive in this market than it is, coming from Sandusky, because in Findlay you got competition. Toledo's obviously there's quite a bit of competition, but I think this not only gets us to serve our current customers, and I think there's a lot of potential customers here. There's a lot of industrial, there's a lot of big construction projects coming up here in the county. So it's, we just want to be a part of that, and better serve our customers and better serve the customers in Toledo, especially on the supply side. But, we plan on making a significant investment in both the supplies and the equipment. We've started on the equipment side. We've bought, a significant amount, over $1 million already for it.
Well, Beth, one of the things that I really like about this particular program and the structure of the abatement is it really does represent a true partnership between economic growth opportunities like this in the public arena in the schools, and that the reduction it's a reasonable amount, and the amount of time is a reasonable amount of time. And I like that it does give us a chance to help growth and give you a break that you need for time for your operation to turn into the profits that you need for the growth that I know you want. So I really like that about the program.
Thank you, Chantel. Any other questions that you have for Jordan and I?
I'll say owning a business just down the street from where this project is at, it has
get to
been
know
nice.
it,
I drive by it every day going to our mommy store. It's nice to see those old houses going away. They were definitely an eyesore. I'm sure the neighbors are very happy with that. So, and it would be great. I mean, especially with Innowac being right there, motion controls being right there, you know, it's a good fit. Plus, like you said, it's easily accessible. You have 20, you have the bypass, you have 53, easy in and out, and I think it would fit very nice in there.
Are there any of our board members that has a problem with the recommendation to accept? Because we have a choice here on this particular recommendation, accept / not to accept.
Is there an actual resolution?
We had drafted one just in case, just for wording for the board, to kind of give you an option up or down. Ira had a copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the Enterprise Opportunity Zone Abatement request from the Sandusky County Economic Development Corp. by Construction Equipment and Supply.
It's moved by Ms. Laird.
Second.
To accept the enterprise zone abatement, seconded by Mr. Price. Do we have any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Gorbitz, and thank you to the rest of the Board of Education. I'm really excited about this. We appreciate you having us come in tonight and
Yeah.
explain the project and the abatement. This is the first time we've done this for a commercial retail project. So again, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
Nice to meet you.
Yep, thank you.
Best wishes on your business endeavor.
Yeah, you,
Thank you.
you all are invited, obviously, once it's, completed, I believe. We're hoping, obviously, for a March sometime start, I think in 6 months, so obviously, we'll make sure we send something out, for the community to, because we're big on the community, it's important to us.
Cookies at the open house would be appreciated.
We can arrange that. We can arrange that.
Yeah, after this, Ira, we do need to get the letter of support from Sandusky Township trustees, which won't be an issue. I mean, we've been working with them all along in this project, and of course, that goes before the county commissioners for the final say. And so, and Vanguard Sentinel, they're just going to do a letter of support. They didn't feel like it needed to go before this full
Their board,
full
sure.
board for them. So, and I know Ira's been brought in those emails as well. So, again, thank you so much.
Super.
This is fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And you,
Thank you.
welcome to stay or welcome to run for the hills, whatever you think is maybe the best option.
On the way out, you can flash the board to them, the rendering, so they can.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
Because it's going to be very nice.
Pending the change.
Sure. Purple and white would be good, but just throwing that out. That's beautiful.
Very nice.
Yes.
I know
That's
it's
an
something we've
addition in
been
there.
excited about.
Great. All right.
All right, thank you.
I just drove by today and I seen they were knocking the houses down and I was like, I wonder what they're gonna do there.
Now you know.
A lot of people
You get
don't know
firsthand
yet.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bad too.
I bet.
They didn't get the job.
Right.
going forward then on recommendations of the superintendent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gorbetz. We'll continue on then. If you go on to page 2 is our resolution for Black History Month, which is this month. I sent an email to the principals and just said, okay, guys, just give me a real quick, what overview of what you're doing. I got pages and pages of activities that all the buildings are doing. Just real quick, I'll share a few. At Otis, there's various speakers. They have a daily trivia contest, lots of writing into their daily lessons, decorations throughout the building. They're actually trying to get some of our Ross student athletes to come down and visit the students and kind of cheer them on, which I'm pretty excited about. Also in their specials class, music and phys ed, doing some of the same things. Mrs. Parker here in this building asked me to make sure that when you leave, go a little farther past the doors. Their leadership class, I think it was leadership class, student council, sorry, has put they call it the periodic table of leadership, and it's down by the library, and they've taken the whole wall and made a periodic table, but on each square are African Americans who have made contributions to our country. So really a cool project there, and I know they're also doing lots of things in their classrooms. At Ross High, a lot of cool things there. They actually have African American Heritage Group, so that group of students have things planned and are doing a lot of cool things. They're also working in social studies class and their language arts classes as well. Cassandra Tucker is working with our African American Heritage class there. Also, we're going to try to get on our social media. They did some nice things for Charles Woodson. They've got one of our art teachers did about a 10-foot spread, giant picture of Charles holding a football, really, really cool. Also, down by the gym, they did in one of those large display cases, they have 3 of Charles' jerseys with the right numbers on them with some memorabilia from him. So really something worth checking out. You should be able to see it on our social media pages, if not already today, certainly tomorrow. So a lot of great things there. I know there's a door contest over at Atkinson. They're decorating doors, each one commemorating contributions from our African Americans. I could go on and on. But I'll stop. But anyway, there's a lot going on in the buildings for African American Heritage. I can't say it's more than ever, but I could pretty confidently say more than ever. I think it's just been a very strong emphasis for us as a community to make sure that we do it correctly. So with your approval on item 1, we appreciate that. Item 2 is also National Counseling Week. It's just something that we just want to officially recognize what they do. And I think, especially now with what our kids are going through, our families are going through, we need counselors all the time, but boy, do we need counselors now. And let's be honest, when we get our students back in, there's going to be some need. So it's almost the calm before the storm, I think, for our counselors, because they know they're going to have their hands full when we get everybody back in. So certainly a tip off to them. So if I could have a motion for those 2 resolutions, please.
I move.
Moved by Mrs. Ray. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Espiritu. Are there any questions regarding item 1 and 2?
Mr. Detweiler, in the
Ma'am.
CARES Act funds and some of the other things that have been made available to the pandemic, I'm wondering if any of those might be used, if there's enough need for additional counseling staff.
Yeah, certainly need for, I mean, that's part of the appropriate use of those funds, absolutely, yeah. And they talk about lost instruction, but also student wellness is a giant focus of those dollars. So we could certainly,
So
keep that in
staff
mind.
specifically, not just programs, but
Right,
we'll
right.
have-
And we'll look and see. I don't know all the details yet, but we'll certainly look into that. Yeah, for sure.
Do we still have firelands coming in periodically? Any of their people?
I don't know, Alex. I don't know. I know we have a pretty strong counselor crew right now in numbers, but I don't know if we have any firelands time right now. And right now, I bet Miss Abernathy's about to buzz my phone and let me know exactly what we do have.
So at this point, though, you're not anticipating a need to increase staff?
I don't think so. I think we
area?
kind of want to assess needs as we get students in and go from there. It's certainly on the table, though, for sure, if we see it.
Well, if we're not already doing so, perhaps it would be a good thing to think about
Absolutely.
in terms of contracting with firelands for some of their services.
Yeah, for sure, because there'll be a lot of recommendations. Very good. Thank you. All right, moving on, item 3, we have some donations here.
We haven't voted on the
Oh,
motion.
we should vote first.
Okay, roll
Sorry,
call.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Roll call for items 1 and 2.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Item 3 then, our list of this month's donations. We have school supplies from the Job and Family Services. We have 322 masks from our Lift churches. Those are our Lutheran churches in town. We have hats, scarves, gloves, and mittens, certainly just in the nick of time, from St. John's Church. And 4 library books from SCORTA, which is our Sandusky County, Ohio Retired Teachers Association. So if I could have a motion to accept those donations, please.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Laird,
Second.
second by Mrs. Espiritu. Any comments regarding our donations? A roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Okay, legislative liaison report.
Yes, I'll be reporting from 3 different sources. And Ira, I've got copies so you don't have to worry about writing it all down. The first one actually fits very nicely with the recognition of need for counseling. So I picked this particular item that came out of the Ohio Department of Ed, something called The Times. It's their February edition. And what we've got here is Ohio Lieutenant Governor John Husted announced that the first phase of what's called Broadband Telehealth Pilot Project in Switzerland of Ohio school districts is fully operational. And what they did was this. They partnered with Innovate Ohio, Broadband Ohio, and the Ohio Department of Ed, and the Ohio Department of Mental Health, and a lot of other divisions. And they created a telehealth for mental health for students. So specifically, it says it's challenging in this particular place for internet service. So in Monroe County, it's a 2,000 student district. They have 8 buildings, and the size of the school district is 536 square miles. If you can imagine, he said the school district itself is nearly half the size of Rhode Island. And the geography and the topography is very different. It's very rural. There's a lot of hills, so a lot of people have struggle with internet service there. He said that 72% of Monroe County's population has no internet service. So imagine what life's been like there, particularly for students and families. And said we have an entire county that's not been able to participate in the modern economy, modern education system, and modern healthcare system. We're serving those students now, and we're getting them the services they need. Added that the program is now going to serve as the roadmap for other rural areas, and there's pieces of it that could be implemented anywhere. You know, if it's not so much an issue of not having internet service, just the ability to have telehealth available for counseling.
Sure.
For our students, and also added that in that particular district, there are only 2 counselors that have to drive with all the school buildings, which can take up to an hour getting there. So I thought that was a very innovative way of using tax dollars to serve people where the service is needed. The next one is one a little more close to home. It comes from the Ohio Department of Ed news clips, February 8th. Our friends down in Findlay, the Findlay City School Superintendent made some nice comments. Mr. Troy Roth said that the new state law that relaxes education requirements for substitute teachers is addressing the staff shortage tremendously from what's been created in the pandemic. He said in November, a staff shortage forced the city school officials to move a portion of the district to fully remote. Simply because there were 174 substitute teaching positions that went unfulfilled. So can you imagine?
Made it look pretty good for us, huh?
Yes. So again, in ways that our legislation matters and makes an impact on how we operate schools here in Ohio. And then on a little bit more national level, this is from The Link from February. For anyone who doesn't have the background of the new Secretary of Education, I thought it might be interesting to know who President Biden chose. Miguel Cardona is the Secretary of Education. He was the Secretary of Education overseas for the U.S. Department of Education. Was the current Commissioner of Education for the state of Connecticut, and prior to Commissioner, worked as an assistant superintendent, administrator, principal, and an elementary school teacher. So I have to say, while I value my ability to lend a financial perspective where it's needed on a board position in a school, I fully respect the lead positions being professional educators. I really do. And I appreciate the choice that was made. Couple of other items where legislation regarding schools kind of hits the headlines, what happens nationally. So House Bill 23, being introduced in Ohio right now, would require peace officers to undergo dementia-related training, as we hear about, the use of firearms in situations and some of the risks that go with that pertains to schools as well. And this one I thought was very interesting. It's House Bill 52. And it is suggesting that municipalities, townships, and counties be allowed to establish their own minimum wage requirements higher than the state minimum wage. So we could probably split the community down the middle on how everyone might feel about that. But I thought I'd bring that up to let you know that, education legislation is impacted by all the topics. It's the children of the households impacted. How does it affect the kids, including minimum wage? So, any questions for me on those? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, going on with our
All right,
recommendation.
thank you, Mr. Gorbutz. We have item 4, a standalone issue for our school calendar. We ran this past the staff, and the one that we're presenting tonight is about 60% approval versus 40% for calendar A. So with your permission, we'll approve that this evening. If I could have a motion, please.
Motion to approve?
Moved by Mr. Price,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Ray. And this was the staff's choice.
Yes, sir. We had a committee that met, proposed, we kind of developed 2 options, and this was put before the staff and voted upon, and about a 60%, which is lower than normal. We usually have a slam dunk winner. This was a little tighter than some of our other past votes, but I think, really the bottom line is, do you have a longer spring break or get out earlier in June? So that's, it's that's the trade-off, I think, for the most part. And I think with the year we've had, the spring break won. So, and also I'd like to point out that this is the first calendar in 2 years we haven't adjusted for our construction project. We're sort of back to our normal routine, just considering a normal year. So just something worth
The
noting.
mid-year move for the high school, it's really,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
No
it
impact.
Depends on when the holidays fall, so it really
Correct.
doesn't change that much.
that's
so.
exactly right. Yep.
Good.
And there's no move in the summer, so none of that's
Right, you don't
impacting
have
that.
to
Right,
worry about any of that.
sure.
Okay. Are there any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Zafirtu,
Yes.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you very much, Board. The next 2 are just placeholders for contracts and policies in case there are walk-ons. We had none, so we'll continue on with student and staff achievement with your permission. In staff matters, we have first our classified staff fleet mechanic and classified staff paraprofessional aide, and then the 2 walk-on items are Catherine Taylor and support staff substitute Naomi. So you see Naomi on there twice. She's paraprofessional aide, but she's also going to be available for subbing. So if I could have a permission for those with the added walk-on. Oh, I'm sorry, there's not a vote there. Let me continue on, I apologize. Item 6, supplemental contracts. Now, this is a little bit of a jump back and forth. You kind of follow me. These are our spring sports in item 6. Then if you'll see, we're already in item 7 looking forward to the fall. So that's why we broke those apart, because those will be under different contracts. our contracts will be renegotiated this spring, so starting July 1, a new contract will kick in to reflect that. So if you notice in the fine print there, we're reflecting current, but we've noted that it may change due to a new contract. So that's why we broke those apart by year. So just if that makes sense for you. Item 8 on the next page are also then, let's see, supplemental duty positions also. We got baseball and tennis, more spring sports for that one. Item 9, we have more supplemental duty positions. Those are our non-certified staff. So we have Robin Moore and Severo Ramirez as concession manager and head soccer coach. Item 10, we have some status changes. Those are due to longevity and further education. So item 10 lists those, and that continues on the next page. Item 11 then are 2 leaves of absence, one for Corey Rohrabacher and one for Julie Yoder. And that is the end of the personnel section. I have a motion for those items, please.
Have a motion to approve those items 6 through 11.
Mr. Gorbetz, if I may, Mrs. King made me aware of a typo on page 7, and I was explaining to you the difference in the years. On page 7, towards the top in section 2, where it says year 2020 and 2021, that's actually one we didn't catch. That actually should be for the fall, so it should be 21-22. So if I could strike 2021 and change that to 21-22, just so we make sure that that's shown in our minutes. Thank you.
Items 5 through 11.
You make a motion?
No, I thought you were going to call for a motion. Did you already?
He started
Mr.
to.
Detweiler and I have to get our water.
We really do. I apologize. We are ready for a motion. For
I'm
item
used to calling for the motion, but Mr. Detweiler's been
stealing your
calling for the
thunder.
motion, so I don't call for the motion. Everybody waits for me to call for the motion.
I will no longer call for the motion.
Don't do that.
I won't do that.
You have enough to worry.
Yes, sir. You are absolutely right. I will hand that responsibility over.
We have a motion to approve items 6 through 11.
So
Can I
moved.
modify that and call it 5 through 11?
Sure.
Whatever, 5 through 11.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Laird,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Espiritu. Any questions regarding items 5 through 11? Roll call, please.
Ms. Laird?
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz?
Yes. Motion carried. For curriculum, we have the Curriculum Quality Control Committee report. And I'm not sure, there it is. Basically, what we're doing as a CQCC right now is reviewing the entire curriculum management plan for the district, which is very time-consuming because it is lengthy. And we're doing it section by section. Mrs. Parker and Dr. Pierce led the committee on a review of curriculum principles at the last meeting, and these principles include management of our instructional and assessment programs. And these principles are embedded in our curriculum, and we did have quite a lengthy discussion regarding those particular items, and we approved the eventual editorial changes made by those 2 members of the committee. And we will management plan for the rest of the school year, most likely. Our next meeting's March 17th, so we will continue along those lines.
I don't think we need a vote on that, Alex, just as
No.
a committee report.
It's
so-
just information.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fiscal matters, report of the treasurer.
Just a couple things to note, and I'm going to start with the new construction. So we are about, with our building project, high school, elementary, currently we are about 72% financially complete. For the high school, we are about 50% construction and 50% financial complete. Elementaries, even though we got kids in the buildings, we're about 93% financially complete, and we still have some residual yet with the demolitions and the fine tunings. In March, I will be participating in the annual Tax Incentive Review Committee. That's going to be scheduled around the middle of March. Right now, they're talking about a Thursday, March 18th date. And what we just did earlier tonight, that will probably be part of that discussion at that meeting in March. That committee meeting tends to review all of the entities that are receiving some type of tax abatement within the county. As of Thursday last week, field work was completed for the state's financial audit of our fiscal year 2020. In talking to them, they hope to have a report by the middle of March out. Presently, I'm not aware of any exceptions. Nothing to recommend or to approve tonight. Being a short week, financials are not yet ready for January. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, board member communications and information requests. Mr. Price.
Thank you for our guests, Beth and Jordan, for coming in. An explanation of the process from Beth, but also the new project with Mr. Wagner and his company. So exciting to see economic growth for the community. Nice to actually play a part in helping with that possibility or having some input and some collaboration. So thanks for them for coming in. Congratulations to Mr. Woodson as a huge football fan. Anybody who can make it to the Hall of Fame, pretty amazing feat. Then B from right here in Fremont. Big, huge congratulations to all the hard work that he put in over all those years to be able to reach that very top tier of football athletes. So to the FAF, amazing job on the facilities. Congratulations on being able to pay that debt down like you did for that stadium and everything else. So huge thank you to them for all that they do for the district and just for the community. The community uses those things so much. Also, it's not just the schools, but
That's right.
So thank you very much to them. And then the tour of the high school. I got to go home, and my daughter Cassidy was there with her boyfriend Cole, who graduated 2 years ago. And I said, "You guys missed out. you guys are missing out on." And so they were asking all about it, and I showed them the plans that we had that you gave us as we were walking through, and it's amazing. It truly is. And we saw it in the middle of construction. I mean, not a finished product by any means, but very nice, man. It's be able to utilize that for our students I think is just going to be amazing for us to be able to do that as a district. So that's it for me.
Ray?
I kind of mirror Mr. Price's appreciative remarks, and also a little add that really thanks to our community for making that possible for our children's education. And also, it's been pretty neat, despite the pandemic, how things have just moved along, and everything has pretty much been on target and on time. That was pretty awesome. It was nice to see or hear about numbers, COVID numbers going down. You had a nice article, and hopefully that will take place, that we will get more back to normal. Hopefully we'll drop down to orange, but that was good news. That was pretty positive. And of course, our donations, we thank God for our donors. We're thankful for our donors who care about our kids and our community. From academic things to helping the kids be warm and have the gloves and stuff, and the mask keeping them safe. So that was very nice. And also congratulations to Mr. Woodson, who continues to make us proud. And it's so nice that that he is a little giant. That was awesome. And thanks to our guests. So for the great things that are going on and giving us a chance to be a part of that. So that's mine.
Well, I agree that the high school truly is amazing.
Awesome.
And one of the really amazing things about it is I think the city needs to know, when you look at that building, at these buildings, you're looking at Fremont's craftsmanship. When you think about Moja Construction and so many of the other businesses, Valley Electric, all around, that put their blood, sweat, and tears into that for their own hometown, their own home community. I just think that's really special. And my request on that particular item, if you would, Mr. Detweiler, if you could ask Chad from Gilbane, could he give us a list of vendors, material suppliers, contractors, subs, all of them, that are from the Sandusky County area?
Sure.
We love and appreciate all of them, but I would love to do something special with that, just to let Fremont know, this really was our own work. And I want to thank Gilbane for honoring that. But that being a CMAR, they didn't have to.
Right.
They could pick. We can ask all we wanted. Please let our local folks participate. But they honored that. So that was really touching to walk through and see what our folks can do. I want to send a congratulations and a thank you to all of our faculty who's increased their education and worked towards those achievements. Kudos to them, and the best recipients of all for that work are our students and what they gain out of that. I really want to thank, speaking of teachers, Mr. Chris Mollis.
Yes.
So what a lifelong teacher to take the time to put this together to educate us. Very clear how much he cares about kids and what we learn about each other. And on that line, I'll end it with this. You don't see a whole lot of positive, truly credible, good information on social media sometimes. But I did see one that made me think for a second, like, oh gosh, I didn't realize that, but it's true. Do you all remember learning about little Ruby Bridges? She was the first African-American student to attend an
right.
all-white school in
integrated.
Louisiana.
Yep.
Yeah, and we think of that as part of our history class and so on. It seems like so long ago. She just turned 66. She's only 66. So I think it's in Black History Month worth noting that some of the dark times in our history weren't all that long ago. And I think that that's enlightening to why we still have some of the things we got to work on. Certainly not taking any credit away from the strives and hard work everybody's put in. But I think that was really enlightening to me on why it was not that long ago. So that's all I have for today.
Well, what can I say about the high school? It's just in the conditions that it's not.
It's half built and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I know.
And I could already, as we were walking through, just picture the students and picture how it would look. And I just can't wait till it's complete and the students are actually
Can't wait. So excited.
in the building and walking around. I can't wait. That's all I have for tonight.
Well, I'd like to congratulate the foundation, particularly the foundation's perseverance in being able to achieve what they have achieved in terms of paying down the debt for our facilities, which the community owes a huge debt of gratitude. And I'm going to specifically mention Mr. Hawk, because Mr. Hawk kept things going when things weren't going all that well. And the school district and the community owes him a huge debt of gratitude also. I've always felt it was an honor to be able to watch our students participate in any activity they were participating over the years, whether it be in the classroom, the athletic field, plays, musicals, the wide variety of activities that the district has offered over a long period of time. It was a particular honor to be able to watch Charles participate in athletics. I had the opportunity to watch him play football from the time he was in the 6th grade all the way to when he graduated. And I vividly remember telling a friend of mine who lives out of state, when Charles was a sophomore, I told him, we have the best player in the country on our football team. And he said, yeah, right. I said, oh no, he's the best player in the country. And he was. And he certainly has done the community proud, done the school district proud. And it's just an incredible honor and accomplishment to be in the Hall of Fame. It's not the only one he's in. He's in the College Hall of Fame also. Some other, the Michigan Hall of Fame. He's in just about every Hall of Fame he could be associated with, he's a member of. But this one was quite an honor. So congratulations to Charles. And of course, the high school was like the only word I could think of as we were walking through it. It's going to be a palace. It's going to be a spectacular building. And everybody that played a role in that, including the community most of all, because without the community support, we wouldn't be talking about it. Without the community support, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. Wherever we would be sitting, we'd be talking about what are we going to do with the junior high. But anyway, the community's been very generous, and hopefully our new buildings will be a source of pride for the community for a very long time. Okay, with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Ms. Laird, seconded by Mrs. Ray. Roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carries. We are adjourned until February 22nd.